Adrian's apartment was exactly what Sera expected: minimalist, expensive, controlled. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, leather furniture, shelves lined with first editions. Everything in its place, nothing out of order. Except him. He opened the door and she saw immediately that his control was gone. His tie was loosened, top button undone, hair disheveled from where she'd run her fingers through it. He looked dangerous, undone, and absolutely devastating. "Come in," he said, his voice rough. "Before I change my mind." Sera stepped inside, her heart racing. The door closed behind her with a final sounding click. For a moment, they just looked at each other. The reality of what was about to happen hung between them, heavy and electric. "Drink," he offered, already moving toward the bar. "I don't need a drink, Adrian." She shrugged off her jacket, let it fall to the floor. "I need you." He poured himself a scotch anyway, drained it in one swallow. "I want you to understand something. Once this happens, you're mine. Not just for tonight. Not just when it's convenient." He turned to face her, his eyes dark and intense. "I don't share. I don't do casual. If you walk into my bedroom, you're agreeing to belong to me." Most women would have run. The possessiveness in his voice, the raw need, it should have scared her. Instead, it made heat cool low in her belly. "Then take me to your bedroom, Professor," she said, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. "And show me what belonging to you means." Adrian moved so fast she barely had time to breathe. One moment he was across the room, the next he had her pressed against the wall, his body hard against hers, his mouth claiming hers with bruising intensity. This wasn't like the kiss in the library. That had been desperate, exploratory. This was pure possession, his tongue demanding entry, his hands gripping her hips firmly, his entire being focused on claiming her. Sera kissed him back just as fiercely, her nails digging into his shoulders, her body arching into his. She could feel how much he wanted her, and it made her bold. "Adrian," she breathed against his mouth. "Please." "Please what?" He pulled back just enough to look at her, his eyes nearly black with desire. "Tell me what you want, Seraphina. Say it. I want you. I want this. I want everything." He groaned, the sound vibrating through both of them. "You have no idea what you do to me." He lifted her easily, her legs wrapping around his waist as he carried her down the hallway to his bedroom. The room was dark, dominated by a massive bed with expensive sheets. He laid her down carefully, then stood back, just looking at her. "You're so beautiful," he said, his voice reverent and rough all at once. "I've imagined this. Every night. You in my bed, looking at me like that." "Like what?" "Like you trust me completely. Like you want this as much as I do." Sera sat up, reaching for the hem of her shirt. She pulled it over her head slowly, revealing black lace underneath. His eyes darkened further, his hands flexing at his sides like he was physically restraining himself. "I do want this," she said softly. "I want you. All of you. Everything you've been holding back." Adrian was on her in seconds, pressing her back into the mattress, his mouth hot against her skin. His hands were everywhere, gentle but possessive, exploring, claiming. Every touch sent electricity through her body. "Tell me if it's too much," he murmured against her throat. "Tell me if you need me to slow down. Don't you dare slow down." The next hours blurred into sensation, his hands learning her body, his mouth discovering every place that made her gasp, the way he whispered her name like a prayer and a curse all at once. When they finally came together, it was everything, intense, overwhelming, perfect. He was careful with her at first, giving her time to adjust, but when she urged him on, demanded more, he gave her everything he'd been holding back. Afterward, they lay tangled together, breathing hard, the reality of what they'd done slowly settling over them. "No going back now," he said quietly, his fingers tracing patterns on her bare shoulder. "I don't want to go back." She tilted her head up to look at him. "Do you?" "No." He kissed her forehead, surprisingly tender. "But we need to be smart about this. No one can know. Not yet. So I'm your secret. You're my everything," he corrected, his hand cupping her face. "And I'm going to protect that. Protect you. Even if it means being careful." Sera nodded, understanding even if she didn't like it. "What happens Monday?" "Monday, you're my student and I'm your professor." We maintain distance. We're professional. His thumb traced her bottom lip. But nights like this, you're mine. Here, in my bed, in my life. Just nights. For now. Until we figure this out. He pulled her closer. I told you I don't share, Seraphina. That means every part of you that you're willing to give me. When we're alone like this, you belong to me completely. Can you handle that? She should have been intimidated by the intensity in his voice, by the possessive way he held her. Instead, she felt safe. Wanted. Alive. Yes, she whispered. I can handle that. Good. His smile was dark and full of promise. Because I'm nowhere near done with you tonight. He kissed her again, slow and deep, and Sera felt heat begin to build once more. This was dangerous, forbidden, potentially destructive to both their futures. But as Adrian's hands began to wander again, as he whispered promises against her skin, she knew with absolute certainty that she'd made the right choice. Some things were worth the risk. Some people were worth falling for. Even if the landing might hurt.